One day, when my daughter was 2, we were having a typical terrible 2 moments. She was throwing a bit of tantrum for about 5 to 10 minutes, and we couldn't get her under control. At some point, she, rather suddenly, stopped and started staring at the wall. She then started lightly giggling. It was weird. One second she is crying and screaming, and the next she is smiling and happy. Then she starts saying funny lady over and over. We asked her who she saw, and she pointed to the wall, and again she said the funny lady. When we asked her to describe who she saw, she described my deceased grandmother, and I mean exactly described her. She had never met her, and I don't think had ever even seen a picture. Not that a 2-year-old could remember a picture. I'm not much of a believer in the paranormal, but I know for sure that my daughter got a chance to meet my grandmother, and that makes me happy. When I told this story to my parents, they didn't seem as shocked as I was. When I tried to get a response from them, they looked at me and said, "I guess you don't remember that you met your deceased grandfather when you were 3. The same exact thing happened to you 2 years ago." My daughter was 4 years old when we lived in our last home. It was just she and I alone in the home. I always got an uncomfortable feeling in her room, particularly the closet area, but never thought much of it until one evening. I had put her to bed, and as I was doing chores, I walked by her room and heard her whispering. I listened for a bit, thinking she was talking to herself, but it was definitely a two-way conversation, with her saying, okay, stuff like that. I walked in and asked her who she was talking to. She smiled uncomfortably and said, "No one." I took her out into the hall and she wouldn't say anything, but I could tell she was afraid. Finally, we went outside of the house. She said there was a man in her room who didn't want us in the house, and he had told her this and to tell her mom to leave. I moved us. I moved us out a month later. She has not since ever had an episode like this. When I was 15, I traveled to Europe with my family. We stayed in Italy, Germany, in a small inn for a few nights. My parents had a double bed on the second floor. My sisters had the double bedroom next to theirs, and I was lucky enough to have a single room all to myself at the far end of the hall. When we went to check in to our rooms, as soon as I entered the hallway our rooms were in, I remember almost feeling as though I walked into a wall of bad energy. I just felt so unnerved and uneasy in that hallway, but I passed it off as an overactive imagination. I slept the first night without any issues, other than waking up a few times. The next morning, at breakfast, one of my sisters mentioned feeling really uncomfortable in the hallway, almost as if the air was crashing. It nerved me even more that I wasn't the only one who felt weirded out. Plus, she was an adult at the time, so it further cemented in my head that wing of the hotel was odd. Later that night, I'm sleeping peacefully, when at about 2 a.m. I'm woken by something ripping the covers off of me and being jerked about 2 feet towards the end of the bed by my ankle. At first, I thought someone had broken into my room, because when I turned towards what had grabbed me, a huge looming black shape was visible in the darkness, like a man was in my room. I frantically flipped the light on, only to have there be nothing there. The window was locked from the inside. There was no one in the closet or the bedroom, and my room was also still locked from the inside. I stayed up the rest of the night scared, playing Cooking Mama on my DC. The next morning, we ate breakfast, and my sister said that she was up half the night because she thought she saw a person silhouetted against the wall of the room. But when she turned on the light, there was no one there. It was just a creepy experience. We checked it out that day, so I didn't get to experience anything after that, but it still freaks me out to this day.